A sharp warning from Washington as tensions rise in the occupied West Bank. The White House says U.S. President Donald Trump continues to oppose any move by Israel to annex the West Bank, a position officials say is central to maintaining regional stability and Israel's own security. A senior U.S. official stressed to Axios that a stable West Bank aligns with the administration's goal of achieving peace in the region. But on the ground, the reality is moving fast. Israel's security cabinet has approved measures that make it easier for Jewish settlers to buy land in the West Bank and expand Israeli authority into areas long considered under Palestinian control. Moves critics say point toward de facto annexation. Ultra-nationalist finance minister Bezalel Smotrich openly declaring the government will, quote, continue to kill the idea of a Palestinian state. The response from the region has been swift. Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Turkey, Indonesia, and Pakistan all issuing sharp condemnations, warning the steps violate international law and undermine the two-state solution. A statement was released by 8 Arab and Islamic states on Monday. It said, and I quote, "We condemn in strongest terms the illegal Israeli decisions and measures aimed at imposing unlawful Israeli sovereignty, entrenching settlement activity, and enforcing a new legal and administrative reality in the occupied West Bank, thereby accelerating attempts at its illegal annexation and the displacement of the Palestinian people. Israel has no sovereignty over the occupied Palestinian territory. The continued expansionist Israeli policies and illegal measures pursued by the Israeli government in the occupied West Bank fuel violence and conflict in the region. We absolutely reject these illegal actions, which constitute a blatant violation of international law, undermine the two-state solution, and represent an assault on the inalienable right of the Palestinian people to realize their independent and sovereign state on the 4th June 1967 lines, with occupied Jerusalem as their capital. Such actions also undermine the ongoing efforts for peace and stability in the region. These illegal measures in the occupied West Bank are null and void and constitute a clear violation of UN Security Council resolutions, particularly Resolution 2334, which condemns all Israeli measures aimed at altering the demographic composition, character, and status of the Palestinian territory, as well as the 2024 advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice. We call on the international community to fulfill its legal and moral responsibilities and to compel Israel to halt its dangerous escalation in the occupied West Bank and the inciting statements of its officials. The fulfillment of the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people to self-determination and statehood based on the two-state solution in accordance with resolutions of international legitimacy and the Arab Peace Initiative remains the only path to achieving just and comprehensive peace that ensures security and stability in the region. Jordan, Egypt, the UAE, and Turkey maintain diplomatic ties with Israel. Saudi Arabia says normalization will not happen without a Palestinian state. Most of the international community still sees the West Bank, occupied by Israel since 1967, as the core of any future Palestinian state.
The European Union condemns recent decisions by Israel's security cabinet to expand Israeli control in the West Bank. This move is another step in the wrong direction, while the whole international community is making an effort to implement phase 2 of the comprehensive plan for Gaza.
Under the new decisions, land registries once kept confidential will be made public. permit requirements eased, and Israeli enforcement expanded into Areas A and B, zones meant to be under Palestinian or shared control. Settlement watchdogs say the changes could pave the way for widespread demolitions of Palestinian property and further settlement expansion across the territory. This is about normalizing occupation, says Peace Now, calling it another step toward annexation in all but name.
We condemn and we reject all these decisions. Those decisions are illegal under international law. Israel has no sovereignty over the occupied Palestinian territory, so all these decisions are void and null according to the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice. So this is illegal, and we will be asking the international community, starting from the Arab League and the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and the Security Council, to convene to take decisions toward confronting these illegalities that Israel is trying to impose its settlements regime over the occupied Palestinian territory, or to annex any of the occupied Palestinian territory. This is also contradict the vision of Mr. Trump about there's no annexation, no occupation, and no forcible displacement. These commitments and these guarantees that he commit to the Arab and Islamic Committee before launching his 20 points plan. So we call on the international community, including to Mr. Trump, to impose on Israel sanctions and to stop what Israel is doing in the occupied Palestinian territory, mainly the annexation.
The United Nations is now sounding the alarm. Secretary General Antonio Guterres warning the current trajectory is eroding the prospects for a two-state solution and pushing the region further from peace.
The Secretary General is gravely concerned by the reported decision of the Israeli Security Cabinet to authorize a series of administrative and enforcement measures in Area A and Area B of the occupied West Bank. The Secretary General warns that the current trajectory on the ground, including this decision, is eroding the prospects for a two-state solution. He reiterates that all Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem and their associated regime and infrastructure, have no legal validity and are in flagrant violation of international law, including relevant United Nations resolutions. Such actions, including Israel's continuing presence in the occupied Palestinian territory, are not only destabilizing, but, as recalled by the International Court of Justice, unlawful. The Secretary General calls on Israel to reverse these measures and all parties to preserve the only path to lasting peace, which is a negotiated settlement for a two-state solution in line with relevant Security Council resolutions and international law.
On the streets of Hebron, frustration and fear. Palestinian residents say the decisions will make it easier to confiscate land, expand settlements, and demolish homes faster than ever before.
This issue has serious repercussions and may be one of the most dangerous Israeli trends at the present time. We're talking about an issue related first and foremost to the complete withdrawal or exclusion of the Palestinian side and all its institutions, the Palestinian Authority, the Hebron municipality, and all other Palestinian institutions from the scene regarding the West Bank, whether classified as Area A, B, or C, and especially in Area A. The decision aims to withdraw the powers of the Hebron municipality in all matters related to licensing, construction, and regulation, especially in the areas of settlement outposts and their surroundings, which are part of the heart of the city, and where the Hebron municipality used to be the safety valve for preserving Palestinian assets and preventing settlement expansion. Now, the systematic absence of its role and the unilateral action allow for the spread and expansion of settlement outposts to a high degree and at an extremely rapid pace.
International action is required. UNESCO, which registered the Ibrahimi Mosque, Cave of the Patriarchs, and the Old City on the World Heritage List as purely Palestinian, must play its role. The world's stance today is timid in using the term terrorism to describe the settlers who commit all sorts of atrocities against our people throughout the homeland.
As President Trump prepares to host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, the message from Washington is clear. Annexation, the president has said, will not be allowed. But as policy shifts on the ground accelerate, the question remains, can diplomacy stop a reality that critics say is already taking shape?